For the SATs, Lucy swapped out my emergency inhaler to help her idiot brother get a leg up. I collapsed at the school gate, spent 2 weeks in the ICU, and missed my last exam. But to comfort her precious, startled little fool, she took him on a graduation trip. A month later, she came to see me. "It's okay you didn't do well. I'll just repeat the year with you. You only missed 1 exam, but you won back my heart." I ignored her, clicking off the acceptance email from a university overseas. Her rotten heart wasn't even in the same league as my future. Lucy lounged on the sofa, casually flipping through a photo album on my desk. "You should have been more careful, not knowing where to keep your own medicine. To grab the wrong thing at a time like that."
I'm speechless.
Her tone was breezy, her expression flippant. Not a shred of guilt. It was as if she wasn't the one who had gone through my backpack and switched my inhaler. The album opened to a picture of me in middle school. She pointed at my choppy short hair and snickered. "You were such a hick back then. Your clothes were all baggy, and your hair looked like a dog chewed it. You didn't look like a handsome guy at all. I can't believe I was so blind, so crazy about you, that I threw away piles of love letters just to stay by your side." Lucy was right. She really had been in love with me once. My mom and her mom are best friends. Lucy and I are only a few months apart. We grew up together from the time we were in diapers. For the past 18 years, aside from family, we were the ones who had spent the most time with each other. Lucy was always a rebel, never listening to anyone. She'd get into a fight at the drop of a hat. Only with me was she as gentle as a kitten. Actually, back then, I was a clean-cut guy with a bright smile who got plenty of love letters myself. But after every letter, Lucy would get into a hysterical fight with someone. She'd come back with a bruised face or her arm in a sling. Mrs. Reed was getting called into the principal's office so often she was at her wit's end. That was the first time I couldn't control her. No matter what I said, she wouldn't listen. Finally, I gave her the silent treatment for days. She panicked, cornering me on a tree-lined path in our neighborhood with eyes so red they were frightening. "Are you an idiot?
I'm jealous.
I like you so much that when anyone else likes you, I get so bitter I could kill them. Leo, you're the biggest idiot in the world, the biggest fool." She ran off into the pouring rain, leaving me with a view of her heartbroken back. That night, through the thunder and lightning, I tossed and turned, thinking about her red eyes and the 15 years we'd spent loving and fighting each other. The next day, I shaved my head, stuffed my crisp white shirts into the back of my closet, and pulled on a baggy t-shirt. To anyone who asked, I just said, "I need to focus on my studies." But when my eyes met Lucy's, the shock and emotion in them proved she understood completely. She was the type who couldn't keep her eyes open while studying, but she started forcing herself to cram books until midnight. With dark circles under her eyes, she told me seriously, "If I don't work hard, I'll just get further and further away from you. I want to stay by your side, guard my future. I'd do anything for you." She didn't have a patient temper. If someone so much as touched her, she'd pounce like a cat. But no matter how I teased her or how many difficult problems I threw at her, she'd just take it, smiling sheepishly. She, who cared so much about her pride, even brought me a thermos of hot water and stomach medicine in front of everyone during gym class when I had a sudden stomach bug and couldn't stand up straight. She even thoughtfully included a few hand warmers. When someone joked that I was spoiled and had trained Lucy like an obedient dog, she lunged at them and nearly tore off a piece of flesh. "I am his dog. I'm happy to be his dog, and I'll bite anyone who messes with him to death." From then on, everyone knew I was Lucy's one exception, the one person you couldn't touch, until Ethan moved into the Reed house. He was the son of Mr. Reed's good friend. After his parents died in a car crash, he was left to live with his elderly grandmother in the countryside. Mr. Reed felt sorry for him and brought him to live with them. He enrolled in our school, joined our class, and because he didn't know anyone, Lucy offered to be his deskmate. That was the first time I gave in, moved by Ethan's pitiful story. I figured Lucy and I were both too fortunate, too blessed. People wrapped in sunshine should share a little warmth with those soaked in dampness. But later, the birthday present Lucy stayed up all night to make for me the souvenirs she had someone bring back from abroad, and the chance to join a band together. They all ended up in Ethan's hands after one of his teary-eyed, pathetic displays. I protested, but Lucy just scolded me impatiently. He's already so pitiful, living in someone else's home. You want me to give him the cold shoulder on top of that? Leo, have a heart. These things are just decorations in our lives. But to him, they're a rare ray of light. What's the big deal if we let him have them? In the end, it got to the point where a hiking trip we had planned was canceled by Lucy because Ethan suddenly came down with a stomach flu. She announced in our group chat, group activities should include everyone. Leaving Ethan behind is just forming a clique, and I won't allow it. Leo, stop being unreasonable. She promised to take me shopping to make it up to me, but instead, she went with Ethan to visit his parents' graves. We can go shopping anytime. The dead come first. Leo, be more considerate. Don't hold a grudge against the deceased. Even when I chose my favorite hot pot and sushi for my birthday dinner, she complained, Ethan has acne, he can't eat spicy food. And his stomach is sensitive, so sushi will give him a stomachache. Leo, let's pick something else. It's just one meal, don't make a big deal out of it. Ethan this, Ethan that. Her world revolved around Ethan. I was completely pushed out of their circle, yet I was the one labeled the bad guy, constantly lectured and hurt by her. But every time I tried to distance myself, she would shamelessly crawl back, apologize, and then immediately turn around and push me aside for Ethan again. It was a repeating cycle. I was in constant, quiet pain, and eventually my heart grew cold. My best friend, Jake, was furious. How did things get like this? It's like you're the second male lead who had his luck stolen. All of a sudden, you've lost all your shine in Lucy's eyes. He was right. After clashing again and again, Lucy had come to resent me. Unwilling to be the jilted second lead, the villain everyone loved to hate, I quietly submitted my applications to study abroad and removed myself from their little world. I used studying as an excuse to completely fade out of Lucy's life, deliberately avoiding any interaction with her. But Ethan, crying, cornered me in the stairwell. It's all my fault. I'm just unlucky and useless. That's why Lucy takes care of me so much. I've made you unhappy, Leo. Just hit me. Go on, hit me hard. He suddenly grabbed my hand and started slapping himself with it, then staggered sideways and tumbled down the stairs. A large crowd on the field below witnessed me pushing Ethan down the stairs. Rumors that I was bullying the orphan, Ethan, spread like wildfire. A post on the school's online forum meticulously listed my supposed acts of bullying. Forcing him to go hiking when he had a stomach flu. Screaming at Lucy. Forbidding her from going with him to visit his parents' graves on their death anniversary. Deliberately taking him for sushi, knowing his stomach was weak, to make him miss a practice exam. Giving Lucy the cold shoulder to force the Reeds to kick out poor, helpless Ethan. One by one, the stories twisted the truth, dragging my name through the mud. At school, I was isolated and ostracized by classmates who didn't know the truth. My notes were stolen, my books were torn, and my homework was covered in curses. I had become the villain everyone loved to hate, deserving nothing less than a tragic end where my family was ruined and my life was a living hell. Ethan was the pure white lotus from a poor background, strong, independent, never giving up, and even matching me academically. They pitted him, protected him, and coddled him like a fragile seedling in a storm. The malice even extended to my parents, who were subjected to a vicious campaign of online harassment. They sent funeral flowers to my dad's office with a little note. If you won't let others visit their parents' graves, then get ready to visit your own. I sent the flowers in advance. You're welcome. My mom's chain of bakeries was hit with false accusations of using cheap ingredients, selling stale cakes, and having unsanitary conditions. She was buried under a mountain of complaints and endless inspections. The high-profile attacks destroyed her reputation and her business, forcing her to temporarily shut down. My mom's dream, built over a decade, was about to be destroyed by this baseless disaster. She tried to act cheerful to comfort me, but she was so worried she couldn't sleep, losing a ton of weight. I had been doted on by my parents my whole life. I had everything I ever wanted, and even a small scrape would break my mom's heart. That cyberbullying campaign was the biggest hardship I had ever faced. Overwhelmed with panic and helplessness, I almost decided to end my high school career early, pack my bags, and flee the country to get out of the main character's way. But I couldn't accept it. I wasn't the one who had done anything wrong. Why was I the one being labeled and treated like a pariah? Lucy, who had witnessed everything, could have said something to defend me. But she didn't answer my texts or calls. Instead, when I went to school to pack up my books and study from home, she sneered, "I only see Ethan as a little brother. He lost his parents. As the closest person to him, what's wrong with me being nice to him? Is that any reason for you to be so jealous you'd try to kill him? He has a broken bone. You happy now? Your spot as #1 in the city is safe, right? Wow, playing the victim. Now I see you for who you really are." With one slap, I shattered our 18 years together. Numb with pain and fury, I called the police. What a shame. It took you 18 years to finally see me clearly. The hallway security camera had clearly recorded Ethan stumbling and the sharp sound of his voice begging me to hit him. When the police came to collect the evidence, the school couldn't refuse them the way they had refused me. Faced with the evidence and questions from all sides, Ethan shook his head, his eyes welling up. "It's all a misunderstanding. I never said Leo pushed me. He never said I pushed him, but he never said he fell on his own, either." With his pitiful act, saying nothing and letting the ambiguity hang in the air, he had thrown me to the wolves. Even while I was suffering through sleepless nights from the intense cyberbullying, he updated his social feed. "There's always a rainbow after the storm. Keep going, Ethan." Lucy comforted him in the comments. "No matter how big the storm, I'll always be here to hold the umbrella for you." Their interaction not only confirmed the rumors but also solidified Ethan's image as the strong, innocent victim. I was the one being roasted over the coals, forced to prove my own innocence. Yet when the truth came out, his eyes welled up with tears as if I were the one picking on him. The teachers and students, mindlessly protective of their main character Ethan, started trying to smooth things over. "Ethan is timid. He definitely didn't mean for it to happen. We're all seniors. College is his only way out. Let it go, don't mess with his focus. He's learned his lesson. He's an orphan, it's not easy for him. It was just a misunderstanding. Be the bigger person and let it go. When I was being bullied online, I deserved it. When my name was cleared and I wanted to pursue justice, I was being petty. Well, I was going to be petty. This world doesn't run on whoever is weaker is right, nor does it run on whoever can act the best is right. Even if he was the main character of the whole world, in my world, I was my parents' only precious main character, not a stepping stone for someone else's ambition. My dad paid a hefty sum to have someone track the IP address of the person who posted the slander on the school forum. It was from the Reed house. When the evidence was thrown down, everyone fell silent, their gazes on Ethan particularly telling. Looking down at Ethan's pale, frightened face, I asked, "Don't tell me this is also a misunderstanding." "Enough." Lucy suddenly shoved me, making me stumble. She stood in front of Ethan, her eyes red as she took all the blame. "I did it, are you satisfied? You just had to blow this all out of proportion. Are you happy now?" When I was being falsely accused and bullied, she said nothing. When her precious Ethan was confronted with the truth, she had a hysterical meltdown at me. This was the childhood friend who had been by my side for 18 years, the one whose heart had suddenly turned. I felt like I'd been shot in the chest with a cold bullet. The pain and shock were so intense they nearly tore me apart. Jake spoke up for me. "What more could Leo do for you? Who cares if you want to spoil your cheap little brother? Why do you keep using him as a stepping stone to climb higher? Do us a favor and take your precious brother and get lost. He doesn't owe you anything. He dumped your trashy self a long time ago. Don't you get it? There's no such thing as distancing for no reason. He's the one who doesn't want you." Lucy stiffened, her eyes flicking guiltily toward my pale face before she looked away. "So what? He was wrong to target Ethan in the first place. All he has is his studies. You've already pushed him to the point where he's studying until 2 or 3 in the morning every night. Why do you have to bully him mentally too? Besides, your little clique was already excluding Ethan. I don't believe you didn't approve of it. Since I'm Ethan's sister, it's my duty to protect him. Leo, we grew up together. Why can't you understand me and just cut Ethan some slack? Slap. I raised my hand and hit her twice, cutting off her self-righteous tirade. Who do you think you are? That our whole family should just swallow this and try to understand you? My parents treated you like their own daughter. Every gift I ever got, they got one for you too. When they were getting harassed online, where were you? Did you ever protect them like this? Did you ever stand up and say a single human word for them? Lucy tilted her head, a defiant look on her face. After the initial shock, she nonchalantly poked the inside of her cheek with her tongue and sneered at me. So what if you called the cops? I was telling the truth. At least from my perspective, it was bullying. You can't call it slander. Leo, after this slap, I don't owe you or your parents anything. In that moment, the moment she stood against me, twisting right and wrong, I suddenly realized that the 18 years of my youth connected to Lucy were completely rotten. I clenched my fists to stop them from shaking, fighting back the sting in my nose, and forced a smile. Lucy, from now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. Don't bring up our 18 years of history. As for the slander, we'll let the evidence speak for itself and handle it accordingly. I pushed through the crowd, afraid that if I walked any slower, I would break down in tears. Lucy instinctively reached for my sleeve, but when Ethan whimpered Lucy, she slowly let go. You're being too extreme, don't blame me. Ethan only has me. The way she loved someone hadn't changed. She would stand in front of them, defend them, and protect them at all costs. It's just that person wasn't me anymore. The sudden storm ended with a public apology letter from Lucy. The price a bad person paid for their actions was so small, yet a normal person's peaceful life was nearly destroyed. This is how Jake comforted my bewildered self. Who doesn't go through a doomed relationship when they're young? You just happen to run into someone who was a jerk to begin with. Cutting your losses now is the best thing she could have done for the rest of your life. I thought that made a lot of sense, and I ended my decade-plus relationship with Lucy that day. We both tacitly agreed that our paths had diverged. There was no future for me and Lucy, but the day before my last final exam, as I lay on the ground, struggling to breathe, I suddenly remembered that my medicine that day had felt strangely cool. And besides my parents and Lucy, no one else knew about the inhaler in the hidden pocket of my backpack. Remembering Ethan's confident declaration, I will be first in the city, Lucy promised me, it all clicked. The sudden appearance of the pollen that triggered my attack, the medicine that was suddenly swapped out, none of it was an accident. Lucy bragged to her classmates. The Millers sicked the cops on me for no reason and almost got me framed. Everyone knows we're not together anymore. I'm sad Leo missed his last exam, but he can't just dig out my heart because he's upset. Ethan is so timid, he was scared to tears all night. If the SATs weren't over, I wouldn't forgive Leo. He's fine, but Ethan's been having nightmares. I'm taking him on the earliest flight tomorrow to clear his head. When you guys see Leo, bring him a bouquet of the most expensive white roses for me. It's the least I can do. She was gone for a month. She showed up today because her mom, Mrs. Reed, forced her way in under the pretext of visiting my mom. It's okay if you didn't do well. I'll just repeat the year with you. Lucy put down the photo album and looked straight at me. I know you're still mad, but Ethan is about to go to college in New York. He's grown up and I've done my duty as a sister. I don't have to look after him anymore. And you've sulked long enough. We've known each other for over a decade. A few angry words and a couple of slaps can't just throw all that away. You only missed one final, but while I was a nervous wreck with Ethan, I realized how much I missed you. Leo, you won. You won back my heart. Let's let the past be the past. I ordered your favorite hot pot and sushi. Pick one, I'll go with you. Looking at this familiar yet horrifyingly strange face, I took a deep breath and pointed to the pile of pill bottles by my bed. I can't eat any of that. I'm on a strict diet with all this medication. She let out a small laugh. You're really a walking pharmacy. You've spent your whole life dealing with medicine. Just then, my mom walked in with a suitcase. Her words pointed. That's what happens when you're schemed against by demons. He was in emergency for a whole night and spent 2 weeks in the ICU. I almost thought I was going to lose him. I don't know who could be so vicious as to switch an inhaler with a saline solution. That's trying to kill my son. That's murder. Whoever had the evil heart to harm my son will meet a terrible end. Lucy's lips trembled, and her face went white. She looked like she wanted to say something but didn't know what. She just lowered her head, lost in thought. My mom calmly pushed the suitcase under my desk and said, "You're going on a long trip. Get everything you need ready, and throw out all the trash that needs to be thrown out." That's right. The new school was on the other side of the planet, a flight of over 10 hours. It was a very long trip indeed. As for the trash in front of me, I had already thrown it out long ago. Lucy stared at the table full of pill bottles and vials, muttering, "Right, you're so smart, you'll get into a good school even with one missing exam. You love LA so much. Which school are you thinking of applying to? I'll pick one nearby so we can both stay in LA." If this were the old days, her giving up her beloved New York to go to LA with me would have made me ecstatic. But now I just chuckled faintly and replied, "No, I'm—" Ring, ring. My words were cut off by Lucy's phone. She glanced at the screen and immediately answered. Ethan's crying voice came through the phone. "Lucy, I fell. I'm at the hospital." Lucy's expression changed. While comforting Ethan, she rushed downstairs without a second glance back. "Leo, I have an emergency. Take care of yourself. I'll spend every day with you when we get to LA." Watching her retreating back, I let out a self-deprecating laugh. "I'm not going to LA, and as for you, I left you in the past a long time ago. Mom, don't let her in anymore. We haven't been friends for a long time." Mrs. Reed, who was on her way out, stiffened at my words. 10 minutes later, texts from Lucy and Ethan arrived at the same time. Lucy said, "I'll take you shopping and out to eat another day. Be the bigger person, don't be mad." Ethan's was a taunt. "You're a lucky guy, Leo. Since you're so good at turning misfortune into fortune, I guess not getting into your top school won't affect you much. It's okay. Lucy and I will be waiting for you in New York." I ignored his provocation and Lucy's bizarre nonsense. I blocked both of them. The next day was the last class get-together before everyone went off to college. After school started, my classmates would be scattered across the country, and it would be hard to see them again. Couldn't get out of it, so I went. I arrived late, and the private room was mostly full. The moment Lucy saw me, she stood up with a smile. "Leo, you're here. I was going to pick you up, but Ethan suddenly wanted a cupcake, so we had to take a detour. Come on, sit next to me." She trailed off. Her best friend was sitting to her left, and to her right was Ethan, clutching his pants tightly. There was no seat for me. Ethan quickly stood up, flustered. "This was supposed to be your seat, Leo." "I'm sorry. I sat in the wrong place. I'll give it back to you." But his frantic movement was so clumsy that he knocked a teacup on the table, making it clatter. Lucy's brow furrowed instantly, and she pushed him back into his seat. "Just stop making a mess and sit still. You're such a clueless idiot. If I wasn't here to look after you, you'd be causing trouble all day. Your hand is still scraped up. If you don't sit next to me, who's going to get you food and drinks? Your big brother Leo won't hold a grudge against a clumsy kid like you. Right, Leo?" The favoritism was so obvious that everyone watched with amusement. Only I felt like I was watching a fool's performance, completely unfazed. Ethan, blushing and embarrassed, gave me an apologetic look. "Sorry, Leo. Next time, come earlier." I shook my head, sitting down in an empty seat without a care. "It's fine. That spot is yours from now on." Lucy paused, instinctively looking at me. After I nonchalantly avoided her gaze, she awkwardly nudged her friend on the left. "Have some sense. Don't you know to give Leo your seat? If he gets mad, you'll have me to answer to." The friend nudged her back and smirked. "You wish having a guy on each arm. You think someone with Leo's pride would put up with your wishy-washy drama? The seat he doesn't want is mine now." Lucy's eye twitched, and she looked at me again. But I was busy talking to Jake about my plans to study abroad, not giving her a single glance. Lucy drank too much. Her eyes were red, and she looked unwell. Usually, at times like this, she would start whining and grab my hand, wanting me to talk with her about everything and nothing. But today, every time she tried to start a conversation with me, I just gave her a bland, dismissive reply. I didn't want to deal with her, but I was afraid she'd cling to me, so I decided to leave early. Leo! Just as I stood up, Ethan called out to me. He walked over carefully, holding a glass of red wine. Leo, it's such a shame you missed the last exam, but we won't give up on you. Lucy and I will be waiting for you in New York. He was twisting the knife, his face so innocent you'd think. He couldn't see the sudden change in everyone's expressions as he stumbled toward me with the wine. A toast to you, brother. I hope you can get into a decent state school. Ah! I instinctively put up a hand to block him, and the entire glass of red wine splashed all over him. His face went pale, and he stood there, drenched and trembling. Leo, I don't have a brother, and you're only 3 months younger than me, so you don't have to pretend to be some innocent, worldly, unaware flower. Besides, how clumsy do you have to be to not even hold a glass of wine steady? Leo! Lucy shot up in an instant, rushing over to pull Ethan behind her and check him over. You idiot, you can't do anything right. Always trying too hard. Look at you, you're a mess. Someone else got to let off steam. But what about you? You just deserve to be bullied? Don't you know how to throw it back? With that, she picked up a wine glass to splash me. And I, in turn, grabbed an empty wine bottle from the table. The moment her wine hit me, I was going to bash her head in. But in the next second, Lucy's hand was caught in a firm grip. It was Ava, the daughter of my dad's old classmate, and a student 2 years ahead of me at the same university in the US. My mom was worried about me, a sickly kid, going so far away alone. So my dad had shamelessly asked his old friend to have his precious daughter look out for me. Unexpectedly, Ava was very kind. She had been coming over to my house frequently the past few days, getting to know me while teaching me how to be a proper international student. When she passed by the restaurant, she had intentionally waited downstairs, planning to drive me home after the party. I guess she got tired of waiting and came up. She adjusted her thin-rimmed glasses and gave Lucy a slight smile. Getting physical with a guy. How impressive. Ava looked elegant and quiet, with a gentle presence, but with a flick of her wrist, she executed a perfect takedown, pinning Lucy so she couldn't move. A girl's hands are for creating beautiful things, not for fighting. You didn't understand that before, but I hope you will in the future. Lucy angrily shook her hand off. Who are you? Mind your own damn business. Ava ignored her so completely she didn't even spare her a glance. She took the bag from my hand and asked me softly, "Are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital?" I shook my head and smiled back. "No need. Let's go home. You've been waiting a long time." "Okay. I made you some soup. You should have it while it's hot." Crash. The wine glass in Lucy's hand fell to the floor. She stared at me, her eyes burning with rage. "Leo, don't you dare leave. You..." Ethan chose that moment to sniffle, and Lucy's brow twitched. She ordered me, "Apologize to Ethan. Forget it." Other classmates were about to speak up for me, but Ethan tearfully cut them off. He hugged Lucy's arm, biting his lip. "It's okay, really, it's okay, Lucy. You're going with me to college in New York, and Leo obviously can't accept it. He let off some steam, so he won't be mad at you anymore. As long as you're happy, Lucy, this little bit of hurt is nothing." Then he turned to me. "Leo, if you're gonna blame someone, blame me. Okay? I'm the one who forced Lucy to go to New York. I'm the bad guy. You can punish me however you want. I'll take it." His nose was red, and tears streamed down his face. He looked like a martyr. As expected, Lucy's heart broke for him. She chided him affectionately. "You idiot. I'm not a child. Who can force me to do anything? Why do you take all the blame on yourself? You're so silly. Not everyone can understand your kindness." Ethan bit his lip, tears still on his face as he shook his head stubbornly. "But you're leaving Leo because of me. If he's unhappy, it's my fault." I had seen enough of this act, experienced enough of it. I didn't even have the patience to argue anymore. I said coldly, Who is Lucy to me? Why should I be unhappy that she's going to New York? Ethan, stop with the drama. You and her, to me, you're both just a dirty puddle I've already stepped over. Looking at you for another second disgusts me. And one more thing. Since you know you're full of dirty tricks, maybe use them a little less. When lightning strikes, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. With that, I grabbed Ava's sleeve and turned to leave. I'm going to be sick. Let's go home and have that soup. Ava had been standing protectively in front of me the whole time. Only now did her gaze fall on my hand clutching her sleeve, and a small smile touched her lips. Okay, whatever you say. As we turned, Lucy suddenly grabbed my wrist. She scowled at me, her face full of anger. It's only a 2-hour flight from New York to LA. Do you have to be this mad? It's not like I'm abandoning you. I'm just going to be with Ethan for a while until he settles into college. Look at him, he's so clumsy. How can I feel safe leaving him in New York alone? Once he graduates and gets a job, I'll stop worrying about him. When he gets a job, won't you worry about him making mistakes, getting bullied by his boss, or being isolated by his colleagues? No one wants to be the backup, swallowing their pain and bitterness time and again while watching your sibling drama unfold. But I no longer had the patience to explain any of this to the now irrelevant Lucy. I was just doing my duty as a sister. Can't you understand that? Fine, you win. You found someone like this just to piss me off. I'll give you face. I admit I was wrong. Okay? Stop messing around. I've had too much to drink. Leo, feel my face. Isn't it burning up? Seeing that I was really about to leave, Lucy suddenly changed her tune, rubbing my wrist and shaking it gently. It was her way of surrendering. In the past, I would always soften at her pleading, careful eyes, scold her a bit to let off steam, and then let it go. But this time, I yanked my hand away. Meeting her shocked and furious gaze, I said, word by word, you seem to have forgotten. We're not close anymore. Grabbing a guy you're not close with is inappropriate. As I turned to push the door open, Ava swiftly stepped between us, shielding me from Lucy. He said, you're not close. If you keep this up, it's harassment. You don't want to get hit over this, do you? An enraged Lucy was held back by a group of classmates as she watched Ava and me get into the elevator. Ethan handed Lucy a glass of water and said softly, on purpose, that older student is so gentle. She even makes soup for Leo. They're not living together, are they? Lucy's pupils contracted. Staring at the elevator, she unconsciously clenched her fists. On the way home, I was silent. Ava didn't ask a single question. She silently opened a water bottle for me, carefully fastened my seatbelt, and discreetly guided me around small puddles. It wasn't until we were about to go upstairs that she handed me the insulated container with the soup. It's not your fault. I was taken aback. What? She leaned in, her eyes bright as they met mine. Because a certain big kid has been sending dozens of apology texts all the way home. But you weren't the one who ruined the party. Why should a kind and stubborn boy have to apologize? I didn't cry when Ethan repeatedly threw dirt on my name. I didn't cry when I clashed with Lucy time and again, stubbornly refusing to let tears shatter my pride. But Ava's single sentence made a wave of sorrow wash over me, and my eyes filled with tears. I looked down, my voice hoarse, because every time I confronted him, I was the one who ended up being blamed. It was my fault for not letting him have his way, my fault for being petty, my fault for hoarding Lucy. I started to think that maybe my just being there was the mistake. Ava's smile faded, replaced by a look of pure sympathy. She reached out and gently brushed my short hair. But that was your class party too, she said softly. Those were your teachers and classmates for 3 years. Why should you have to avoid it just because he's there? Your happiness and success aren't a mistake. His misfortune isn't your fault. That jerk was being a fool. It has nothing to do with you. A tear rolled down my cheek. I felt so broken. You don't understand. He has this magical power. He makes Lucy protect him unconditionally. Makes Mr. Reed, who always doted on me, treat him like the apple of his eye. Even Mrs. Reed. She'd rather throw away decades of friendship with my mom than hurt him in the slightest. Ava wouldn't understand. I watched as the people closest to me slowly drifted toward him, eventually surrounding him, standing against me as his protectors. Of my 18 years, all I had left were my parents and my little clique. Ava gently pulled me into a hug. Of course I do. Just keep moving forward. There are so many more people, a whole bigger world, waiting for you to discover. And if you're a little scared, just do what you did today and grab my sleeve. If you want to cry, do what you did today and have a good cry in front of me. He has his magic, but you have your charm too. You haven't even left the country yet, and my friends are already dying to take the little kid out for some fun. But what'll I do? I'm going to be neglected. I burst out laughing. The evening breeze was warm, just like Ava, gentle and quiet, yet full of a strength that made you want to be near her. After that day, I rarely went out. Ava practically moved into my house, bringing different ingredients over every day to teach me how to cook. She declared righteously, the #1 survival skill for an international student is knowing how to cook. She was poised and cool, a bookish type with her thin-rimmed glasses, yet she could flip a wok like a pro. They gave me a thumbs up and asked her, "You have to cook anyway. Cooking for one is the same as cooking for two." You've seen Leo. He screams if oil splatters. It's a miracle he hasn't burned down the kitchen. We're really not comfortable with him cooking. How about, you two team up? We'll cover the living expenses. A small smile played on Ava's lips. She coolly adjusted her glasses, her long eyelashes fluttering. Well, since you've put it that way, it would be rude of me to refuse. As it happens, the apartment next to mine is for rent. I'll have a friend hold it for me. My parents were overjoyed. They practically pushed me out the door to see her off and welcome her back. One evening, after seeing Ava out, I turned to go upstairs and ran into Lucy, who was huddled motionlessly in a dark corner. Her brow was furrowed, her eyes ringed with dark circles of exhaustion as she glared at me. Is it because of her? You're not answering my calls, not replying to my texts? Leo, do you even have a heart? We've been together for over a decade, and you've only known her for a few days. How can you treat me like this? The smile on my face vanished. The sight of her felt like bad luck, and I instinctively quickened my pace to get away. But Lucy, like a woman possessed, grabbed my wrist and hissed, "Did you hear what I said? I forbid you from seeing her again, and I forbid her from coming to your house." I was baffled. I replied, word by word, "That's my business." Lucy, we're not close. You don't have the right to question my life. Lucy's hand on my wrist trembled slightly, her grip tightening with suppressed rage. Ava is bad news. You can't handle her. Leo, even if you're just doing this to get back at Ethan, you shouldn't have picked her. You have no idea how many pictures she has with other guys on her social media. Do you know what a player is? She's a phony, a rotten person. She's not your kind of people. I let out a short laugh, my brow furrowed as I stared at her audacity. And why, exactly, should I listen to a rotten person's opinion about my friend? Lucy's pupils quivered. I continued, "It was your precious Ethan who told you, wasn't it? That I'm only getting close to Ava to get your attention, to spite you, right? What else did he say? Lucy, are you blind? Why do you only listen to what people say instead of seeing them for yourself?" Lucy rushed to explain, but I cut her off coldly. Ava is my friend. I don't need to learn about my friends from someone else's mouth. Lucy, the way you talk behind people's backs, it's disgusting. I turned around abruptly and saw that Ava had been standing behind me the whole time, holding a box of hot pot base, a gentle smile in her eyes. "I forgot to give you my secret weapon. You'll need it for the hot pot tomorrow. Your mom specifically requested it." Ignoring Lucy completely, she came to my side. Her eyes flickered over my reddened wrist before she discreetly pushed the box into my hands. "Take this upstairs. Be good, and get some sleep." Even though I hadn't known Ava for long, having only connected with her while preparing to go abroad, she was responsible, steady, and had a calming presence that was inexplicably reassuring. With her around, I felt like I had found solid ground, a source of strength and support. I nodded and got into the elevator under her watchful eye. Just as the doors were closing, I quickly said, "I'll have the goose intestines you like ready. Wait for me to eat with you." The curve of her lips was the last thing I saw as the doors shut. From beginning to end, I didn't give a single glance to Lucy, who was forced to the side, unable to get near the elevator. After that day, Lucy spent 2 days in the hospital and then completely disappeared from my world. On the 3rd day, we booked our plane tickets to go abroad together. On the 5th day, Ava helped me buy everything I needed to bring. On the 8th day, Ava helped me pack my bags. On the 9th day, I had a farewell dinner with Ava and my close friends. Jake drank too much, slinging an arm over my shoulder, crying and laughing at the same time. If it wasn't for that dog, you wouldn't be leaving me. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not crying. My boy is going to see the big wide world. I'll wait for you to come back. Wait for you to see me with a beautiful girl. Be my best man, and be my kid's godfather. Wah. Leo, you haven't even left yet and I already miss you. No, I have to take more pictures to remember this. His phone was working overtime. He posted a dozen 9 photo grids to his social feed. Ava, who looked so polished she seemed to be from a different reality, was in dozens of them. A gentle smile never left her lips as she sat quietly beside me, watching us laugh and fool around. Friends commented wildly below. I ship it. Ava is so beautiful, Leo's eating good. Her legs are longer than my will to live. Her face is more perfect than a painting, and she's gentler than jade. Leo really lucked out. The world really does get brighter once you leave the psycho siblings behind. Less than 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered. Lucy's furious roar came through the speaker. Leo, that's enough. I'm giving you 3 minutes to make Jake delete that post attacking Ethan. I was completely confused before Jake snatched the phone from me. Delete my ass. The only thing I want to do is slap you 2 psycho siblings with the force of a dragon. You pushed my Leo so far, he's leaving the... I clamped my hand over his mouth, took the phone back, hung up, and blocked the number in one smooth motion. I just want some peace and quiet before I leave. They're too much drama. It's giving me a headache. Everyone nodded in understanding. For real. Next thing you know, her brother will be hanging himself on your doorstep to apologize, forcing you to get on your knees and beg for mercy. Well, that's settled. Now, if he wants to apologize, he'll have to take a dozen flights. His sister would have a heart attack. A few minutes later, another text from an unknown number. I know you have a big temper and a small heart, and you can't stand other people. My birthday is next week. I'll give you a formal apology. I'll send Ethan away, how about that? But it was too late. Her reluctant concession meant nothing to me anymore. I blocked that number too. But in the middle of the next night, I received dozens of messages from Ethan. A picture of him from behind, arm in arm with Lucy as they looked at an apartment. A picture of Lucy happily picking out furniture. Even a picture of him sitting on a sofa while Lucy knelt to massage his feet. Leo, don't be mad. Lucy just doesn't want me to be homeless. She's giving me a safe harbor. He had a large photo of him and Lucy framed and hung on the wall above the sofa, like they were a newlywed couple. In the picture, Lucy stood with her hands on her hips, smiling at the camera and flashing a peace sign. Ethan was gloating. I got into my dream school, Columbia, with the top score in the state, and now I have a home with Lucy. I have you to thank for all of this, Leo. His words were carefully crafted. Even if I screenshotted them and sent them to Lucy, her response would just be, "You're overthinking it." Ethan is simple, he's not that calculating. I replied with 2 words. Congrats. One a mindless psycho, the other a neurotic actor. A match made in heaven. Of course, I had to congratulate them. Ava turned off my phone screen and fed me a piece of sweet watermelon. When you're happy, don't pay attention to people and things that make you unhappy. But overnight, the photos Ethan sent me were posted on a major social media platform. Under the title, The Shameless Little Brother, Ethan and Lucy's affair was laid bare for all to see. The post even seemed to be defending me, telling a sob story about my anguish at having my childhood sweetheart stolen away. I was baffled, but my friends' group chat was cheering. Who is this hero? They just flipped the whole table. That feeling when someone you hate is finally exposed to the world. So satisfying. Everyone's trashing them. They must have paid for a lot of traffic. Now she's going to have a meltdown of epic proportions. But, Leo, it wasn't you or Ava, was it? Huh? Ava, who was in the middle of making braised pork ribs, looked up, confused.
I'm cooking.
It wasn't me. I held up my potato-peeling hands. I'm the sous chef. Wasn't me either. But in the next moment, my phone rang. Leo, I already agreed to send Ethan away. Why do you have to keep targeting him? He took a bunch of sleeping pills and almost died. Are you satisfied now? You've dragged his name through the mud. How is he supposed to face people now? Make a public apology, or I will never forgive you. I could hear Ethan's weak crying in the background. Lucy, don't. I'm okay, really, I'm okay. Worst case, I just won't go to school. I can go home and farm with my grandma. Really, stop fighting with Leo. Nonsense. Lucy roared. You worked so hard to get to where you are. How can you let one person's words ruin it? Then, her voice turned cold as she ordered me. Ethan only sent those pictures to you. I admit I was wrong not to protect you back then, but Ethan is innocent. You shouldn't have destroyed him. Publicly apologize or else. Call the police, I said, cutting off her endless rant. Not long after I hung up, Lucy went public herself. She not only explained her sibling relationship with Ethan, but also subtly painted me as a jealous childhood friend who was constantly misunderstanding and being possessive of her adopted brother. She even produced evidence that the pictures had only been shared with me. On camera, she looked pained and indignant. I've already sent my brother far away. I just don't understand why he has to blow things up like this. He's always been like this, always needing to win. But human relationships are complex. Can't there be family and friendship outside of a romantic relationship? Sympathy, pity, even outrage. The narrative online shifted rapidly. My accounts and personal information were completely doxed. An even bigger wave of cyberbullying began to brew. Don't be afraid. I'm here. He has his magic, but I have the law. You're not alone. I'll be with you always. Ava stayed by my side, and her presence calmed my panicked heart. The evening light from the floor to ceiling windows draped over her elegant form, making her look like a hero shining with brilliant light. The social media account liked a few gaming videos and commented that some new in-game item was super cool, but can't afford it. Can't afford an $88 item and is a gamer. The person is probably young. That's our opening. Ava sat cross-legged on the floor, typing on her keyboard, sending a game invitation to the account. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. Finally, in the 6th hour, tempted by the offer of a new virtual item, the person sent back a string of question marks. Ava played games with the person all night, gifting them 2 sets of gear, and finally got them to add her on a messaging app. The profile picture was a selfie of a young boy. The corner of a watchtower in the background gave away his location, Ethan's hometown. He's only 9, he won't hold up under pressure. Calling the police will be enough. Ava, her eyes bloodshot from a sleepless night, smiled and put on an apron. After we have our morning porridge, we'll have made it through this dark night. Her slender back was silhouetted against the morning light, blocking the cold wind that rushed toward me. I smiled and said in a voice only I could hear, "The dark night isn't scary, because I found the lamp that can light my way." The police were fast. In just half a day, the trembling little boy confessed everything. Ethan had orchestrated the whole cyberbullying incident himself, with the goal of trapping Lucy by his side for good. He'd had a clever moment, bribing his 9-year-old cousin in the countryside with a video game console to post the slanderous message. Ethan had no defense. He clutched Lucy's sleeve, begging, "I have nothing left but you, Lucy. I don't want you to abandon me. I don't want to be alone in a strange place. I just wanted to keep you. You know, Lucy, I can't afford to lose. Not like Leo. He has a good family, loving parents, he's handsome, smart, and has that other girl's affection. I only have you. I can't let you be taken away." Lucy's face went white. For the first time, looking at Ethan's pitiful, rabbit-like expression, she felt a sense of terror. "I've done everything I possibly could for you. Why would you still do this? What sister would go this far?" Ethan paused. "I was just, making sure you two had no way of going back. Lucy, don't you get it? I never wanted to be your brother. Lucy's body trembled involuntarily. She looked at Ethan as if he were a monster. You call my dad Mr. Reed, my mom Mrs. Reed. You are my brother. How could you, brother? Ethan laughed. But you were drunk at the class party that night. Have you forgotten what you did to me in bed? Can you do that with your brother? Lucy, why won't you face your own heart? You have feelings for me. Otherwise, why would you always take my side and stand against Leo? You knew I was the one who posted on the school forum, but you took the blame for me. You didn't betray me, not even in front of your own parents. You never even said a single word of blame to me. Cyberbullying Lucy. Leo's dad almost lost his business. His mom's dozen bakeries almost went under overnight, and even his education and his future were almost ruined. But you couldn't even bring yourself to blame me. Lucy, are you going to tell me you don't love me? Lucy swayed on her feet. I believed your lies. I thought you were driven mad by him, scared out of your mind, and that's why you made a mistake. I'm your sister, and if I couldn't teach you right, it was my fault. It was my responsibility to see it through. I believed you were simple and kind, that you didn't do it on purpose and would never do it again, but you... Ethan laughed, and as he laughed, tears streamed down his face. Lucy, it was your unconditional protection and favoritism that made me delusional. I fought and clawed and tried to possess everything. And in the end, you tell me it was all a misunderstanding? Lucy, you ruined me. Why don't you just die? Lucy stumbled, nearly collapsing. When she looked up, her eyes met mine. I was watching the show with detached amusement. Leo, let me explain. I was tricked. I didn't know he was faking it. I was drunk that night. I thought he was you. I really didn't. It doesn't matter anymore. I cut her off. I handed a folder of documents to the police officer. These are the fingerprints from my inhaler bottle. Besides my own, there's another set. You can check if they belong to Lucy or Ethan. I had been searching for the swapped inhaler for a long time. It was only when I was thrown to the wolves again that Mrs. Reed, full of guilt, slipped it into my mother's hand. I don't know if it was Lucy, she had said. I found it in her drawer. I feel torn. Please forgive my indecisiveness and lack of courage. But we promised to be sisters for life. I couldn't just turn a blind eye. I'll support whatever you decide to do. My mother held that small bottle for a long time before handing it to me, her face stained with tears. Go on. I'll be waiting for you. Lucy's eyes widened in horror. You? I knew it was you. I've been waiting until now only because I didn't have enough proof, not because I was going to let it go. Attempted murder isn't something you can just let go of. Leaving Lucy in her shock and terror, I walked out without looking back. Ava was standing quietly under the blazing sun, a warm smile on her face. It was as if no matter where I went, no matter when, if I turned around, she would be there. Let's go home. Okay. A few days later, Lucy cornered Jake, snatched his phone, and frantically called me. The moment I answered, I heard Lucy's hoarse, crying voice. Where did you go? Why aren't you home? It's my birthday today. I was ready to apologize in front of everyone. Leo, let's start over. Okay? You said we'd get together on my first birthday in college. I went to pick you up, but you weren't there. Leo, I was really wrong. I shouldn't have shown Ethan your inhaler. I didn't know he would switch it when I wasn't looking. He said his cousin in the countryside also has asthma and he just wanted to see what medicine you used so he could get some for him. I really didn't know. Leo, I'm sorry. I really know I was wrong. I apologize. I never wanted anything with him. I only ever wanted to be with you. You went to LA, didn't you? I'll go to LA with you. We can start over, okay. But the sound of a boarding announcement came through the phone. Lucy froze. Where are you going? Who are you with? Ava stood at a distance, quietly waiting for me to finish my call. Life was noisy, a chaotic sea, but whenever I turned around, Ava was always there. It was a wonderful feeling. I replied to Lucy, I'm going to embrace my future, to welcome my new journey. Lucy, goodbye forever. I hung up, tossed the SIM card, and together with Ava, I stepped into our new life. Ava was completely different from Lucy. She was just an incredibly good person. Good enough to care for stray cats and dogs, making sure they were fed and healthy. Good enough to have helped countless younger students who were also studying abroad. Good enough to teach herself sign language and volunteer as a teaching assistant at a school for the deaf. She even went out of her way to help those angels find job opportunities, tirelessly checking in on them to see how they were doing. Those bright flowers bloomed fiercely in her life, leaving her scented with their fragrance. She seemed to have no temper, never raising her voice. Behind her thin-rimmed glasses, her eyes always held a gentle smile, facing life's storms and challenges with an unshakable calm. Even if the sky were falling, she would just smile, a dimple appearing at the corner of her mouth, and say softly, "It's okay. I'm still here." Anyone would fall for someone as gentle as the wind. It was only natural that we ended up together. 5 years later, when I returned to the country, Jake came to pick me up with his beautiful girlfriend. As I opened my arms to give him a warm hug, I saw Lucy standing behind his girlfriend. The years had smoothed away her sharp edges. The person who used to scream and wear every emotion on her face had matured and become much more composed. That year, after Ethan was sent to prison, his grandmother came to despise her. She suddenly stabbed Lucy in the lower back with a fruit knife, screaming hysterically, "My grandson was a great student, and he was handsome. In a few years, whether he got a good job or married someone rich, he would have taken care of me. It's you're the one who sent him to prison. He said you would take care of him. You liar. Give me back my grandson. Give me back my retirement money." Lucy collapsed in a pool of blood and spent a full 2 weeks in the ICU. She would be dependent on pills for the rest of her life. Ironically, the one she had mocked as a walking pharmacy, had gotten progressively healthier under Ava's care and rarely needed medication anymore. When we got engaged, my mom told me with satisfaction, "Ava healed your body. She's the good medicine you can never replace. You have to keep her by your side for the rest of your life." My good medicine immediately raised her hand and swore an oath. "I will strive to be an irreplaceable good medicine and never be replaced." And all these years, Lucy, who had become a public pariah, was still alone. She had somehow found out I was back in the country. Holding a bouquet of white roses, she walked toward me, step by step. "Leo." But she didn't know that the sun had already risen in my life. The white roses in her arms were no longer the confession I wanted. I handed an invitation to Jake, ignoring Lucy's attempt to win me over. "The wedding's before the new year," I said with a smile. "You're welcome to come, Jake." The smile froze on Lucy's face, the light in her eyes shattering piece by piece. She wanted to say something else, but Ava walked over with our luggage and extended a hand to Jake's girlfriend. "Hello, I'm Ava, Leo's fiancée. It's a pleasure to meet you."